لا. وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه إلى جميعا نتعلم تعليم وتذكر وتذكير ونفهم وانتفاع بباب الاستفادة والحث على تمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى كتاب الله على الخير وصفات الله وخلقاته وكله وأدراكه سبحانه وتعالى. اللهم نور لنا البصائر وصف لنا السرائر ووسع لنا مشاهد وصحب لنا الموارد. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد النور الرسالي وملأ الرجال اجمعنا به في كل طريق وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين. وقال سورة الجمال سورة صلى الله عليه وسلم قال من سيدنا رحمه الله تعالى الذي تبع عنه سورة مسلم استقام حبيبا المسلمين نحن نعرف من محافله وجوهر محجمه غير المسلمين فالمت بالله لنا فلناتنا بحسنين لأنه لو ظهر لنا من حسنات إنما طال أعيننا صلى الله عليه وسلم. والآثار النبوية التي تدل على كمال سنته صلى الله عليه وسلم. لذلك كان من تمام الإيمان به صلى الله عليه وسلم الإيمان بأن الله سبحانه وتعالى جعل بدنه شريف على الرزق لم يدخل ولا بعد وصول الإسلام. الحمد لله. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. In these blessed moments, in this blessed message, in this blessed time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has honored us, given us the opportunity to busy our minds and busy our thoughts and busy our hearts بأعظم المخلوق من الهداية, with the most dearest and the greatest all creation to him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يفعل ما يريد. That's what he was. Were he to will, he could place us anywhere, in any time. Purely to his rahmah and his compassion, Jalaluhu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed in his pre-eternal decree. It's always meant to be. Alhamdulillah, we would be here and we would pray such a jama'ah together. And we would be in this blessed masjid. It's filled with blessing, filled with barakah. It's been the place where many the great ulama, the awliya, and the salihin praise him, and have taught him, and made dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he completes his blessing for us. يتم نعمته علينا. What better way to start the day than in the praise of the greatest of all creation, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Specifically, in these moments, in these blessed moments, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps them for us and not against us. He illuminates them, these moments, throughout our day, that they pollinate and permeate throughout our day. It's transformative to our character, it's transformative to our mindset, it's transformative to our understanding. It roots us in our deen, it anchors us in the reality of this deen. If it's to speak something of the jamal, the beauty, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And no words in reality have any bearing on his beauty, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Imam Busayri, the great composer of Qasidat al-Burda, he informs us within he was the one that the reality and the form is completed by. So he is al-insan al-kamil, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Perfected human being, completed human being, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The one that taught us not only the completion of humanity, not only the perfection of humanity, but the very definition of humanity itself. How would we know what it means to be human ultimately were it not for him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? He mentions that Qurtubi mentions لم يظهر لنا تمام حسنه لأنه لو ظهر لنا تمام حسنه لما أطابت أعيننا رؤيته صلى الله عليه وسلم. It says that the reality of his beauty was not manifest to us. For were his true and full beauty to be manifest to us, our eyes would not be able to receive it. Our eyes wouldn't be able to cope with it. Our eyes wouldn't be able to take that beauty. What kind of beauty is that? Typically the human eye, loves to perceive that which is beauty and inclines towards it. But the potency of beauty is so intense, even one's eye could not take it. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us all to see him in this life, in the barzakh and the akhirah. He's the one that said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِمَا لَا يَرَانِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Woe to the one, it's a warning, it's terrifying. Woe to the one who will not see me on the day of judgment. And who will not see you, Ya Rasulullah? Obviously to the Sahaba, this is everything. They knew that he, in looking at him, in immersion of our vision, of our eyes and of our hearts and our souls, into him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was ultimate salvation and ultimate sanctification. It wasn't just about getting the free pass into Jannah. It was about closeness to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who's the one that wants to see you, Ya Rasulullah? It's the one that when my name is mentioned in his presence, he hears it, can hear me be mentioned, can hear my words being recorded. His heart is frozen, right there. Doesn't know how to feel. Dead heart doesn't know how to feel. For that reason, he's incapacitated. That kind of archetype of soul doesn't know the meaning of salawat. Finds it difficult. Remains silent. It's the one that when my name is mentioned in his presence, and you salli alayhi, doesn't know. You salawat upon me. I was with that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us those that whenever we hear his name, in every moment, will be of those that send absolute, perfect salawat upon him in abundance. Sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Some people are shy giving salawat. To say things scraping the barrel, the minimum. What do I have to do? That's not the hal of the muhib. State of the muhib, of the lover. Use any excuse, any opportunity to hear about their beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did he look like? What did he talk? How did he walk? How did he move? What are you going to tell me about him? In the morning, after Fajr, maybe we've got other things to do. That I'm going to sacrifice that time to listen to my Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those kind of hearts are hearts that are dear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Were they not to be the case in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, would not have gathered them upon the dhikr of the dearest, the most precious creation to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. كان صلى الله عليه وسلم أحسن الناس وجها كأن الشمس تجري في وجهه. He had the most beautiful of faces, صلى الله عليه وسلم. And the literal translation of the Arabic here is as if it were the sun itself to be streaming, radiating throughout his sweat. What that means is related to a prophetic radiance, a beauty. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to all of the prophets. He gave ultimate beauty to his greatest prophet and the dearest of prophets to him, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in this our shuyukh call us to contemplate and reflect on a metaphysical reality, which means that we have to go beyond that which we typically aged by, explained by, which is that the reality of all of the beauty of all the prophets is from his beauty, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to see his blessed face in this life and the evening of the Akhirah. He was singularly unique in that beauty. He was in indescribable beauty. And as we know that there were many amongst the Sahaba, such as the likes of Sayyidina Amr ibn al-As, يقول عمرو بن العاص رضي الله عنه عن حضرة المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم: ما كنت أتيت أن أملأ عيني من إسلام له، ولو سئلت أن أصفه ما أتقت لأني لم أكن أملأ عيني منه. رواه مسلم في الصحيح. سيدنا عمرو بن العاص the Sahabi, and they were all great. The Sahabi wasn't great. The great and well-known Sayyidina Amr, he says, I would never look directly at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But perhaps a more authentic translation, as he mentions, ما كنت petite, I wasn't even able to bear. I had no ability. I wasn't capable to even look at the Prophet. Why was it this Sayyidina Amr إجلالا له, absolute respect? That's a respect that perhaps those of us tainted by the darker implications and pullings and pollution of modernity, and all of its false promises, perhaps we don't understand. Do not look at someone's face out of deference and respect. This is something which is a hal, a state. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many of these things, he didn't say, if you respect me, don't look me directly in the face. You don't find this a hal. But the hal that impacted the heart of Sayyidina Amr is that I couldn't look at him because of the state of my heart towards him. To such an extent, ولو سئلت عن أصفه ما أتت. To such an extent that were I to be asked to describe him, I would not be able to do so. قال يذكر بهذا في وصفه كان إذا تكلم أطرق الجلساء كأنما على رؤوسهم الطير. وترمي في الشمال سأل التبارع بهذا في وصفه in the description. This is the beauty that we have access to context. That the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, given the immense difficulty that they had to go through, and things that none of us could even possibly conceive, let alone begin to understand. In light of this, they knew the worth and the significance and importance, the centrality of understanding how they took on that light. How they took on those teachings. Because when Islam becomes a dry recanting of words, we fail to root it. And we end up preserving something that hasn't even been established in the first place. You can't prune a tree before you planted the seed, and there are any leaves to prune. And the Prophet ﷺ taught us this exquisite method. Sacred method, prophetic method. Part of the knowledge is learning how to take on the knowledge. And they provided for us, you can say in the contemporary vernacular, context. There's no meaning to the text without the context. وكان إذا تكلم, were he to speak, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, those who were sat before him would lower their heads with humility in awe, in reverence, in anticipation that they were about to receive from him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it's described كأنما على رؤوسهم الطير. It's as if birds were perched upon their heads. All heard this when they sleep. Yeah, does a bird ever come and land it on your head? It's a strange thing to do. But this is a form of emphasis, hyperbole in this context, to show how still they were. Because a bird won't come except to an inanimate object, or an animal that it knows that it's not going to harm it or hurt it. So it doesn't come to us human beings. It's what we're going to do. Also, we can derive from this that you were completely undistracted. If a bird came and landed on your head and you were being still, it's thrown off. They were distracted by him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, away from everything else. And that was the hal of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, when they were in his physical presence, and even when they were forced to be away from him. It's hard to be away from the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have a pull, and that pull is only from him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him the ultimate archetype, وَدَاعِيًا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَسِرَاجًا مُنِيرًا. A caller, a summoner unto God, constantly inviting back to Allah. We need to be mindful, particularly in a time which is characterized by plasticity of words. Words become plastic. They break easily. They don't carry very much. They're shallow. They don't have the capacity to cradle things. And when we use the word da'wah, it just becomes a formal performance, or something that we do, or something someone else does. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam not inform him, بَلِّغْ وَعَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. Who's he speaking to? It's just the scholars. I'll take care of it, don't worry, I can get on with the real stuff. What's the real stuff? The dunya. You would say, one of the greatest descriptions of the dunya, you say it's anything that distracts you from Allah. Anything that distracts you from Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to be distracted by Him away from everything else. And we want to leave that to the ulama, leave that to the salihin, leave that to the people in the masjid. And the Sahaba understood this. And that's why when the Prophet ﷺ returned back to Rafiq al-A'la, the ultimate company, to the presence of His Lord, was when he was given the option, there was no choice in the matter, other than Rafiq al-A'la, to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Sahaba understood this, they took on the mantle. They took on the baton. They continued on the journey. They weren't inhibited, or they weren't blockages. Rather, they were conduits that light to continue to flow. Were that not to be the case, then none of us would be stuck here in this blessed masjid after praying Fajr together upon one heart today. He's the one that called us. He's the one that summoned us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If we're not able to give, we're not able to receive. The nature of da'wah is that flow of light. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in our connection to Him, and in our aligning our vision inwardly and outwardly to Him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, be filled with this light. The nature of every vessel, it needs to be cleansed. Everything needs to be cleansed. Because if you present forth a cup, even if it has the purest, sweetest, cleanest of water, if you pour it into a dirty vessel, it's not going to be clean. And if you offer it to a person, if they're polite, they'll say, Alhamdulillah, shut pretty drank. But then, if they're thirsty, maybe what they meant this morning or last night, I'm not touching that stuff. I'm not going near that drink. What's wrong? Something wrong with the water? Absolutely nothing wrong with the water. But if you present a cup that's not been cleaned, it's no longer a cleaning. And then to this meaning, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Al-Islam nadif, فَتَنَظَّفُوا فَإِنَّهُ لَا يَدْخُلُ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا النَّظِيفُ. Islam is clean, pure. So cleanse yourselves. For indeed none shall enter Jannah save for the one who is clean and cleansed. And the ultimate reality of that is to have a cleansed heart. Should not the heart. However, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed us and invited us, called us to a practical way of being, because we can philosophize and pontificate about having a pure heart. But if we don't have a methodology, if we don't have a clear strategy, then how do we know what's pure and how do we know what's impure? If we're only looking through our eyes, through our filter, we may see something that is beautiful and healthy and it's wholesome, but in reality, it's detrimental to our health. So as we read also in the blessed Shama'il of the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, كان صلى الله عليه وسلم يعتني بنظافة بدنه ويأمر بذلك. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would take care to cleanse himself. And it wasn't just something that he did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, rather he would order people to do the same. Who were those people? People in his time, blessed times, people around him. He ordered his own. And we have in our exquisite Sharia that he gifted to us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We need to dispel any misunderstanding, any dichotomy, any issue between spirituality and Sharia. Sharia, even if it's been dirtied by time, will never given access to the realities of that pure path. We're Muslims. And we know the reality of this beauty. And we know that the roots, semantically, of the word Sharia is a path. Who was that path sent by? It was sent by Allah so we can return back to Him. Jalla Jalala. And this Sharia, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is the greatest of all Shari'at, all Shari'ah. In previous Ummah were some form of najasa, some ritual impurity fallen upon something of their clothing, that they would have to literally cut out that piece of cloth and then deal with it. Patch up the clothing, throw it away, do what you have to do. Purely because of him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What do we mean because of him? Because of who he was to Allah. Rahmatin lil alameen. Allah sent him to us as a rahmah. To Allah, he was the beloved of Allah, Habib Allah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. على حسب in accordance with one's method, in accordance with the specifics of any given type of najasa. The majority of those forms of ritual impurity, someone just washes it off with water. That's that. You don't have to go and buy new soap. You don't have to pay another trip to the tailors. You see, these things is easy enough for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to command us as He did, Jalla Jalala. Allah does what He wants. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not oppressive. It's all His dominion. Allah does what He wants. We're all His. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to call us to do this, have to do it. This is the rahmah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he would cleanse himself sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وقد كان يغتسل في كل أسبوع ويحافظ على غسل بدنه يده قبل الطعام وبعده. So he would wash, mentions here, once a week. This is the bare minimum. Actually, a person will wash more and more. It's also dependent on the nature of the climate. Depending on the nature of one's work. If some kind of foul smell starts to come forth from a person, it's appropriate that they take a wash. It's also sunnah, as we know, when the Muslims gather together to prepare by making wudu. He would wash his hands, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, before and after eating. And this is the sunnah. Many of us neglect. To use knife and fork. It's detached from the experience. It's detached from the reality. There's a time and a place. We have the rulings in the sacred law, which define to us that which is haram. Halal is clear, that which is haram is clear. However, the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is that opportunity to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we don't flatline. So we don't dive. So we use any opportunity. We can choose this way or that. Is it haram not to do it? No, but it's the point of orientation. You want to be the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Follow his sunnah. And he would wash his hands before and after food. So it's mentioned in the hadith, the barakah. Barakah, this is something that particularly in our time, in the lands that we live in. It's urbanized. We need to be mindful to remind ourselves what barakah means. Previous people didn't need to over-explain it. They got it. One time we went out, I took this with things, and after we didn't track, it took 5 hours to get there, and we further out into the desert. We lived in the Ebony Desert. And there was a man living literally a house that was probably a meter high, like a meter square. It was just a place that he used to go into, and the rest of his time he was tending to his sheep. And this is a man that experienced the raw creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very obvious. Let's move to dua. Better with the man. So, alhamdulillah, it's all the khazan to be said. Everything was from Allah. It's all literally translated in the treasure chests of God. So you see them being unlocked. Why? We complain about the rain. Bring out an umbrella, run inside, and it's going to be coming all wet. For them, it's life. They see the rain. It's the difference between the livestock living or not. So they understand the meaning of barakah. So the barakah of the blessing of food is the washing one's hands, as you all know. Before and after. The last part of the specific utterance in the hadith is wudu. This is why it's important when we study the Senate, someone just to be to wudu. You need to make wudu before you eat and after you eat. The person that really reads through books, meaning without the guidance and mentorship of scholars of Senate, that the mistakes he makes are more than the bits that he gets right. I find it's true in understanding. كان صلى الله عليه وسلم يحافظ على تعامل القراءة البدنية بالنظافة وإزالة الأوساخ عنها والاستجابة لله certain things the Prophet specifically reminds of. He wants knuckles to ensure that there's no dirt. So you wash your hands. As we say, to do a bit of a half job. You do a proper job. And when the beautiful things and you see the people of Allah just washing their hands. It's an incredible thing to observe. Because for them it's a spiritual practice. It's not just when you walk up. For them it's a spiritual practice. As everything is. Even washing your hands, it's just something you have to do. I'm about to go back into the car, I don't want to get grease all over the wheel. It's just going to shake my hand, I don't want to put them through something kind of difficult, spreading my lunch. For the people of Allah, everything that they do is rooted in spiritual practice. What does that mean? It's very sacred. It's done for the sake of Allah. And this is a sir. This is a secret that we all have access to as Muslims. And towards the end of times, we need to be mindful to even take within ourselves and let funds on our lives. The people, Allah and Batin, balance people. People of Sharia and Haqiqah. Sharia, Tariqah, and Haqiqah. There are people that just swim on the surface, right? Because that's the characteristic of those people that don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يعلمون ظاهرا من الحياة الدنيا وهم عن الآخرة هم غافلون. They know the superficial, something of the superficial, not even all the other stuff, of the dunya, of the ephemeral world, the material world. وهم عن الآخرة هم غافلون. And that's the next slide. Completely unaware. That's the nature of the Dajjal. Some of us talked about the symbolism of being one-eyed, which was what the Prophet ﷺ informed us of. He said that no previous prophet has informed his nation. But the Dajjal is one-eyed, and your Lord is not one-eyed. That's not Allah. He claims to be God. No, that's not Allah. He's one-eyed, and the symbolism of some of our shaykhs mentioned. What does that imply? Because everything in the world of form is also indicative of the reality. What that means is the people of Allah really see through a deeper vision as they've been freed, emancipated, through their immersion into the Sunnah of the Prophet. Their lens is on point and they see clearly and they see deeply and they see far. But the Dajjal is one-eyed. One of the things about only having one eye is you lose the capacity to perceive depth. You can't see up too deep. You become shallow. You become this one-dimensional. And you judge the world, and you read the world, and you interact with the world. You claim that the world, that's all it is. You need to be mindful. You need to understand that what we see is not necessarily all there is. One of the signs of modern humanity to be incredibly assertive. This is the way it is. That's your perception of something of what you have the capacity to do. Even you said those things when you were 5 years old. You're not seeing the same things some years down the line. This is the way it is. The whole thing's unfair. You get the toy I want. I think that you're saying that when you're getting older and older. It's a strange perception of reality. So even the human being within themselves, that our perceptions change, our capacity to understand. Because the way you see things is the way you internalize things, the way you understand things. So the Dajjal is one-eyed, and you cannot see beyond the surface. You as a Muslim worship the one that is not one-eyed. And he, Jalla Jalaluh, through his Prophet ﷺ, taught us how to be people that are rooted in that which is beyond the surface. And even in a time which is characterized by darkness and challenge and worry and anxiety, that we have a way. Because he was the Prophet ﷺ in the end times. And in reality, all of these sunnah, all of these spiritual practices and everything that we do, its reality is an opportunity and an invite to get closer to Him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To be imbibed and enshrouded, empowered, and immersed into something of that beauty. Because the people of Allah are only people of Allah because of their following of Sayyidina Muhammad ibn Abdullah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sounds simple, but the amal. But it remains for us to put into practice. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cleanse our hearts so that we become vessels of light. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow our hearts to be reprioritized and reconfigured to the prioritization He wants. We put Allah first. That's the way it is in reality. We're just honoring ourselves by aligning to what's real and what's true. He, Jalla Jalaluhu, placed His Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as the Iman, the ultimate Iman, the true Iman, the true leader, the true Qudwa, the example. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to follow His example in everything that we do, to make our days filled with light, to cleanse our hearts, to cleanse our homes, cleanse those things in the hearts and the minds of our loved ones that may be displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be attached to that which He loves in every moment and in every circumstance. Our default that we are conditioned upon in our hearts, in any new situation, in any new challenge. It's not what does this person say, it's what does Rasulullah say. What was his way? How did he advise us? And in this, all of the details will be worked out. So may Allah give us tawfiq. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah. ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا الذي ينفعنا وبفقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرابتنا في ديننا مع أهل القدر والأنثى وذكر رب وفقنا وفقهم لما ترتضي قولا فعلا كرما وارزق كل حلال دائما وأخذ أتقياء علما نحضر الخير ونكفى كل شر ربنا اصلح لنا كل الشؤون وأقر بالرضا منك العيون واقض عنا ربنا كل الديون قبل أن تأتينا رسل المنون واغفر واستر أنت أكرم من ستر وصلاة الله ترجى المصطفى من إلى الحق دعانا والوفاء بكتاب فيه للناس شفاء وعلى الآل الكرام الشرفاء وعلى الصحب المصابيح الغرر اللهم اهدنا بهداك واجعلنا ممن يسارع في رضاك ولا تولنا وليا سواك ولا تجعلنا ممن خالف امرك وعصاك وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. يا ربنا اعترفنا بأننا اعترفنا وأننا أسرفنا على لظى أشرفنا فاتب علينا التوبة تغسل لكل حربة واستر لنا العورات وآمن الروعات واغفر لوالدينا ربي ومولودينا والأهل والإخوان وسائر الخلان وكل ذي محبة أو جيرة أو صحبة والمسلمين أجمع آمين يا رب فاسمع فضلا وجودا منا لا باكتساب منا للمصطفى الرسول نحظى بكل سهول للمصطفى الرسول نحظى بكل سهول للمصطفى الرسول نحظى بكل سهول صلى وسلم ربي عليه عند الحب وآله وصحبه عداد طش الصحب والحمد لله في البدء والتناهي حمدا كثيرا دائما هبت النسائي سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين في كل لحظة أبدا عدد خلقه ورضا نفسه وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك.
That's really interesting.